When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. Become a part of it. Embrace it. Become a part of it.
All right, family. I have no idea what is going on with the technology. Oh, I think I see what's going on. I think I have something open. Let me figure that. All right, family. Let's try that one more time. Let's do that one more again. And we're going to come live at you. I just wanted to get the rhythm flowing and all those type of things. Let's do this. Let's do it right. Let's bring in with our dear Baba Amos Wilson.
Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
Peace, 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 and power, family. Dr. DAW in the building. This ain't something that, this is a special edition coming at you, a precursor before I come back at you with a new podcast coming up. I decided to re-enter the scene, the social media, the social media highway, the podcasting, whatever you want to do, whatever you call it. We used to do this thing back in the day on Conscious Black Business Network. And I think I'm coming out of retirement, going to be doing a lot of things. So look forward to that, family. Thumb up this video, family. Share this video. Is going to be I imagine, I kind of think this is going to be a powerful conversation. We have a brilliant mind that's coming before us today to discuss the things. It's going to be an organic conversation, family. And please excuse me, I'm not used to these boards and all these type of things, but nonetheless, what I want to do is bring to the stage my dear brother, Diallo Kenyatta, if I'm saying it accurately, and how he wants me to, give him his honorifics and all those different things. But nonetheless, let me say this. I don't have his bio before me. I'll just say this though. Diallo Kenyatta, brother Diallo, I've been following him for some time now. Back in the days from with brother Geechee and brother what's the brother name he passed on now?
Dr. Ball?
No, he didn't pass on.
Oh, you said passed on. Sorry. Oh, you're talking about sorry. Oh.
Hey, Dr. Ball, he didn't that wasn't a show.
Okay.
Hey, what's the brother's name?
How about Sappho?
Yeah, Sappho. Yeah, I used to love to hear those. Yeah, rest in peace, rest in power to brother Sappho. I used to love to hear him come at people. And then they introduced, I was supposed to come on a podcast with brother Diallo and brother Sappho and brother Geechee, and unfortunately that never took place due to the circumstances, which was sad. But the brother used to drop a lot of interesting information in a very unique way, akin to the way my dear brother does it, and I want to talk about his approach a bit today as we go throughout. But Brother Diallo, welcome. I don't have a name of this thing, but just know that you are one of the ones outside of my cousin who's, I'm going to say outside of my family, that the first one I'm having coming to talk about this topic for a few reasons, but nonetheless, tell the people about yourself, Brother Diallo. I know the world knows you, but maybe somebody out there may not, quite know you. Maybe you need to remind them. Who is Diallo? And I'm going to say, what makes you essential to this conversation? That whatever, all those things. Go ahead. You know how to do it.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm a revolutionary Pan-Africanist based out of Chicago now, and I don't think I'm essential to this conversation.
I figured you would say that.
I'm unworthy.
Yes.
I think this conversation is pathological, it's regressive, and it's disrespectful to our ancestors and detrimental to our descendants that we are still having these debates, because I think pretty much we have enough history behind us to understand that the positioning of these or groupings, cults, scams, and hustles, such as FBA, Foundational Black America, and its incestuous cousin, ADOS. It's just people resurrecting things that are long dead, that are long expired, in order to gain prominence and hustle our communities. So,
all right. Well, tell me a little bit about your background, though. Give me a little bit about your background.
Well, I've been organizing. I've been part of the Black liberation struggle since I was a teen. I've organized with varied organizations, from liberal Stop the Violence Coalition, liberal integrationists, all the way to Black liberationists, Black United Front, NBUF, National Black United Front. I've founded some organizations from the Bloom Collective to the Black Oppression Opposition Movement, or BOOM movement for short. I'm currently organizing with the African World Order, African World Coalition, AWO, where the focus now is on cultivating and advancing truly revolutionary ideology, secular and socialist Pan-African ideology, because so many voices are distorting our mission and taking credit for our struggles, that I felt that one of the areas where we were most vulnerable as a community, as a people, is in analysis and ideology. So that's why in the last few years I've been focusing more on media, articulating our position and offering analysis of both history and current events in order to redirect us, because we have a lot of action and so little progress. We as African people are doing less with more. We have more resources at our disposal than at any other time during the Black liberation struggle, but yet we're not even able to hold on to the meager concessions our people were able to secure. So we're losing ground as we gain materially, academically, socially, culturally, legally, politically. The more we gain, all the way up to and including a Black president, the more we lose. And the main reason for that is COINTELPRO. We collectively have not changed our tactics and strategies and goals over the last 100 years. You'll say our people are fighting, and we're fighting for the same thing we were fighting for 100 years ago. And we're using the same tactic strategies 100 years ago, and our enemies and oppressors are advancing. They're more, not necessarily technological advance, but more insidious. I think that's a more accurate word for them. Our enemies are becoming more insidious to the point where many of our freedom fighters, people that we claim to be our freedom fighters or our liberation or rebellious organizations, are actually owned by our oppressors and directed and serve our oppressors.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, we could just break down every point you just made and kind of that we'll have 7 weeks worth of, if not more, content here. But I guess I want to ask you, with all of that, and one of the reasons why I did want to bring you on, because I always appreciate when you talk about ideology. And often I think we don't really, and I kind of want to build this in a way and then get to the actual, like what kind of prompted what the title of this discussion. But I kind of want to, I saw this post. I'm not sure if you see this on the screen right now. This post you put here. You aren't foundational to a nation that classified you as a beast of burden at its founding. FBA is a gross distortion of history and legacy. I kind of want to get there, right. But I kind of want to just kind of speak to some of the things you've already spoke about to some degree, like flesh it out a bit. So ideology, and this is the main reason why I did bring you on. You always speak about ideology, and I don't think people quite capture. And I'm not saying that they will capture it after this, but at least it is an attempt, right? Oh, and let me back up. I kind of okay. Let me back up. So what I was saying earlier, I'm going to go back and come back. What I really appreciate about you is your mind. Whether or not I agree with you or not, I recognize the brilliance. And yes, I'm sorry, y'all humble people, but nonetheless, I go. You about to say something?
No, I just say I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I recognize the brilliance in people, and I'm really when people are brilliant and they think and they're thinkers, and I don't think there's too many thinkers or thinking going on in right now. So it's refreshing to even hear someone speak to points that I don't even have to agree with it, but just the ability to think is, I'm happy, I'm refreshed just to hear that. You know what I mean? I think you can follow me on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I have to credit my teachers and mentors and the many scholars that predate me, especially for Black men specifically. When we were brought into this country, and since our founding of this country, we were valued for strong body and weak of mind. That was the standard for the African man, to be strong of body and weak of mind. And that's what the system most rewarded. And it could be detrimental to think, and especially to be able to articulate your thoughts. And so we've adopted this action where talk is cheap and it's all about action. And we do not consider mental or intellectual work to be real work that is of value. And so even if you are a revolutionary thinker, a revolutionary researcher, a revolutionary speaker, people will say that you're not doing real work and that there's too much talk. Even as we look at our oppressors, have think tanks that are funded to the tune of billions of dollars. Some of the most powerful and influential institutions in the Western world under capitalism and white hegemony are nothing more than think tanks. And I encourage people to go and talk to Black men and women who have been in the military. The military has as many classrooms and libraries as it has gun ranges. So by and large, African people, we are not defeated on the battlefield, more so in the boardrooms, in classrooms and lecture halls. That's where many of our defeats come from. Or to quote Dale Jones, the white man is more deadly at the negotiating table than he is on the battlefield. So the values of, and this is not just me that I've been confronted with. I've been in lectures with some of our greatest minds. Dr. John Henry Clark recounts one time where he was giving a presentation and was talking about African antiquity and the pyramids. And some arrogant person stepped up and was like, well, go out and build a pyramid. You sitting here talking about the pyramids. Why don't you go build one? And I've also been to lectures by the seemingly disgraced Noam Chomsky, Christian, and Michael Parenti. and I've seen these white philosophers, these white leftist thinkers and icons, and I've never once saw a white person came up and say, "You're doing all this talking, but you ain't acting." So the intellectual component and what we've missed. Revolution is an intellectual endeavor. All the things we associate with revolution, taking up of arms, taking it to the streets, burning and resisting and fighting. The only thing that represents a fascist uprising or a fascist rebellion or a revolutionary uprising or a liberatory action is the intellect that drives it. The thought, the philosophies, and the vision that drives it. That's the only thing that's separated. So many of our people we see in the streets fighting and even fighting against the system, they are trying to recreate the very systems of injustice and oppression that our oppressors have. And we see that repeated around post-colonial Caribbean, the post-colonial Central and South America, post-colonial Africa, where many of our quote-unquote freedom fighters just moved in and reproduced the systems of oppression that they drew or chased the white man out of, because the ideology wasn't there. The intellectual component was neglected. And that's why they didn't call their movement to undermine us a counter-gun program. They didn't call it a counter-militancy program. They didn't even call it a counter-Africa or they called it a counter-intelligence program for a reason. And anti-intellectualism, anti-academia, and refusal to give respect to and to cultivate the intellectual and ideological component of our struggle is why we, with all that we have available to us in the modern era, with technology and weapons and know-how, are making less progress than the ideologically grounded, secular, ideological grounded movements of just 1 or 2 generations ago.
So with that, thank you for that. You went back to your thinking, you brought it back to why ideology is essential. Though you're not essential to this conversation, but so it leads me to think, so what frameworks or that guides your ideological, or you think should guide our ideological approach to this?
History, analysis, and secular organization. So as Malcolm X said, history is best qualified to reward our research. So oftentimes when people get involved in struggle, they're motivated by emotion. They're motivated by outrage. They're motivated by either they observe injustice or they personally go through an injustice. And all of those are extremely valid. I value that. I don't dismiss that. But rage needs a container. It needs an apparatus. So rage, outrage, or the sense of justice or the sense of love for your people is the fuel. Ideology is the vehicle. And so the vehicle must be capable of navigating the terrain. So I'm pissed off and I want justice or I want change. I live in the seat of the empire. I live in an urban so-called democratic system of the United States. I live in the Latin American colonial situation. I'm on the African continent. Wherever you are, what ideology does is give you an understanding of what you're going through. It gives a container for your rage so that your rage can fuel the vehicle, and then you can navigate the terrain and have a desired outcome. Power is the ability to define reality and have it act in a desired manner. So we don't define reality, and we don't attempt to have it act in a desired manner. We accept the reality imposed on us and then try to create the best outcomes or circumstances within the reality defined by our oppressors. So even when we win, we lose. Even when we win, we lose. And so our oppressor says, well, the world is going to be liberal democracy under capitalist economy. So we're going to organize the vote and we're going to encourage entrepreneurialism, and then we lose every fucking time, as most deaf said, because when we start keeping pace, they change up the tempo.
Yeah, you are bringing a few thoughts up in my mind. I'm thinking about this idea that Pan-Africanism is dead, and that's coming up in my mind. What also is coming up in my mind is that I posted something and you kind of asked a question on one of my posts. I said FBA is an identity with an ideology or something like that. And the reason why I posted that, just for clarity, is people they claim that they have no ideology. So something they misunderstand what I'm saying is that no, there's an ideology behind them, and I think it's destructive. But look, I'm not even going. I know you can go with it. Just what do you take from what I'm talking about right now?
Well, foundational. It first of all, it's a mythological, like Christianity or Islam. It's based on a mythological make-believe premise. The United States, the first white man came here. The first white people set foot, the people who could be identified by our modern perception as white, the Norsemen, came here 1000 CE. And you could say the first roots of this nation were laid with in 1492, when the first European monarchists came here in the 1400s. The United States was founded in the 1700s. Black people were not recognized as humans for almost 200 years. So in the 1860s, we were recognized as human beings, which was legislated. We had our humanity legislated. White people, their rights are inalienable and granted by their God. Our rights are legislated by the government. And we didn't even get, and it was 1964 when we had our full civil rights recognized, which was the dissolving of Jim Crow. So how the blood clot are you foundational to, as I said, to a system that took at least 2 to 3 centuries to even recognize you as human, let alone as a citizen? We also don't understand, because we think because we did labor in the system, a nation is not the labor. A nation is not the labor. A nation is even distinguished from a state. A state is the physical boundaries. A state is the physical structure, right? The borders, the infrastructure, the natural resources that are governed and overseen and policed. That's the state. But the nation is the idea, the concept. We hold these truths. The preamble to the Constitution. There wasn't one African anywhere near the establishment of the United States. This nation was founded on genocide of indigenous people and enslavement of African people. So the reality, as history articulates, is African people are oppositional Americans. Our first 200 years, we functioned in total opposition to the establishment, existence, progress, and elevation of the United States. Our only options were submission or death. We weren't consulted in the governance. We weren't consulted in the geography. We weren't consulted in anything related to the establishment of the United States. We were either rebelling against the establishment of the United States, or we were exploited and crushed. It was built on native soil and African blood, and it is disrespectful. That is no different than a man assaulting my mother and ending her life, and then I'm petitioning that man for a room within his house. That is, and to use the plight of our ancestors as a justification for your alignment with America. to the exclusion, and especially also, which is absurd. If you read the history of Africans in the Western Hemisphere, Africans freely flowed, just like the cotton, the gold, the beaver pelts. Africans were traded across borders. You had whole lots, whole plantations, dozens, if not hundreds of Africans packed up, marched to the coast and shipped to the Caribbean. You had Africans being brought up through Central America. We were traded just like any other commodity. Without our so we did not become Americans by choice. So the reality is we are oppositional Americans. The United States has always defined us as a resource when we are submissive, and as a threat when we resist. That's all we've ever been in the United States, a resource to be extracted from or a threat to be suppressed. And to try to build a nationalist, xenophobic, nativist, exclusive movement around that history is obscene and is destined to fail. And it deserves to fail.
So, Brother Diallo, I think you're coming to this conversation with a little bit too much logic. I think you're coming with a little bit too much historical accuracy. I think you're coming with this with a bit too much thought. But maybe, I mean, so, or you're giving too much credit to those who subscribe to this particular ideology.
It's not an ideology.
It's an ideology, but I'm going to call it ideology.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm going to call it ideology is because it's Nashidiism and white supremacy.
But FBA is white supremacist.
Okay.
I don't like that term white supremacy. It's white hegemony. But to use your terminology, FBA is a white supremacist movement with white supremacist goals, ideas, and objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an ideology in black. So nonetheless, so look, but they also saying that they are the indigenous. Come on now. That's what I'm trying to say. They are not saying they are saying they are the indigenous people that in most of us did not come through chattel slavery. So what I'm saying is, so they are saying they are mostly, there was an ethnogenesis, and it's not the ethnogenesis that you see anthropologically with scientific backing. They're saying they were here, and they are the people that were here before Columbus. They are the people that were here before any slave ships, and slave ships did not carry most of our people here, and they are the indigenous people to this country.
Okay, well, let me tell you something about the indigenous people of this country.
Okay.
The indigenous people, the sovereign indigenous people, don't identify as American. So if you're indigenous to this country, then you should not be trying to integrate into this country. You should be trying to oust the U.S. government. Your beef with the government is longer and stronger than African people's beef with the government. So you got the forced kidnapped prisoners.
Yes, sir.
So if you are indigenous, you're a bigger traitor than if you acknowledge that you're African. You're a bigger traitor because look at their objectives. Because FBA is nothing but a stale, recycled movement. African people initially wanted integration, racial integration, social integration, political integration. And then they said, after all of these integrationist movements fail, after every integrationist movement fail, insanity. What do they want to do? Well, now we need economic integration.
So you're saying
equally, socially equal. And that's all it is. It's just another recycled integrationist movement. That's all it is.
So
and it's an integrationist movement that no longer emphasizes the vote, no longer emphasize. It just emphasizes if we could get a grip, if we could get a payoff, if we can accept a ransom for the blood of our ancestors, then it'll all be good. It's another scam. It's another hustle.
Why do you say it's a scam and hustle?
Because Tariq, not shit, is a scammer and a hustler.
Look, hold up. He said that. Now, y'all beating me up already for calling his name. I didn't say that, but keep going, brother.
Can we pull up his pimp videos? He went from pimping individuals to pimping a whole community. Every FBA is one of his hoes.
Hold up.
Man built his career and established himself writing books on how to Mac and how to tell people sell pretty promises to exploit people.
Okay.
That's that man's history. He's proud of it. He doesn't even hide it. I wouldn't even think he'd be offended. Well,
according to him, because people say things like that, everybody in Baltimore are agents. So nonetheless, I
don't know about that.
so again, let's go back. So this idea that we are indigenous, you're saying even if that was true, you should not be.
They are not indigenous. We are Africans.
Okay.
And here's the thing about indigenous people. Why are you over here arguing with us black folks? Why aren't you in sovereign Cherokee territory? Why ain't you up there in the Lakota areas?
No,
Why aren't you in Middle America fighting with other Native Americans? Because I'm an African. My organizing, my community is with Africans of the. I am a member of the African diaspora.
Brother Diallo, they're saying that those indigenous people are black, Brother Diallo.
Then go argue amongst them. If you are an indigenous, I've met several indigenous people. I've been to indigenous sovereign territory here in the United States.
Yes, sir.
I broke bread with Native people. I for a long time read and studied on the American Indian movement, and they had their internal struggles. There's a bunch of Uncle Tom Native American sellouts who converted to Christianity and embraced capitalism and trying to tell all the other Native Americans our only destiny lies with aligning ourselves with the white man. So the Native community has its own issues. If you are indigenous, Native, good. Go on over there and fight it out with them. Why are you convincing Africans that you're Native? You need to convince the Native because you're not getting your share of the cut. You're getting your cut of the money. You're not getting your plot of land. It's not African people keeping it from you. It's really weird to me, all these black Indians, and I'm going to throw up air quotes till my fingers cramp when I say black Indians or black indigenous. If you're black and indigenous, then you should be having different discussions in different spaces with different people. And I commend you, and I hope you win. Your victory will aid in our struggle, and our victory will aid in your struggle. But why are we arguing with black indigenous people? Because I'm not indigenous to this land. My ancestors come from Africa. And anybody want to talk about we built this land to 300 or 400 years, and you're going to trade land that your ancestors tilled for 3 or 4 centuries and neglect land that your ancestors cultivated for 3,000 years? You can't find me an African. I don't care how long any African has been in this country. It is a fraction of the time that our people invested on the African continent. And as Bob Marley and many other brothers and sisters from the West Indies eventually found out, you don't trade a continent for an island. I'm not trading a continent for a country. And I'm going to self-define. I'm not going to define my entire reality and my entire lineage based on some shit crackers did to my ancestors.
Let's back up.
I'm going to self-define.
Brother Diallo. So I appreciate it. So the thing is, though, they're saying that Pan-Africanism is dead in the history. We've been trying this too long. And that, so, wow. Okay. So they're having the reverse argument. They're saying, and they're saying that we are delusional.
You want to play the Coon's advocate. Listen to me. Let me tell you this. And this is bottom line for all of our existence. It is better to fail at resistance than to succeed at submission. I'd rather fail in the mission of Pan-Africanism than succeed in the mission of integration.
Jesus.
So whatever critiques you have on Pan-Africanism, if they are valid, I'm willing to discuss them. If you follow me on social media, I am a critic of Pan-Africanist. I bump heads with many a Pan-Africanist.
Really?
Call me the Grinch of Pan-Africanism. That's my nickname because I got all these things. Because I know that Pan-Africanism is not above critique. It needs refinement. It needs redirection. It needs modernization. It needs intensification. But I'll tell you this.
What does that look like?
It's better to fail for us all to get together and fail at Pan-Africanism than us to abandon and run over here to this FBA ADOS bullshit. Because what does victory look like? That's my main question. Anybody comes to me and say, hey, join up with my movement. What would victory look like? What would the total victory of these FBA coons look like? What is their mission? And what would be the ultimate outcome if they achieved all of their objectives?
So Brother Diallo, I had this question. I got to ask this question because this is something, I've heard you say on one of my previous favorite shows, Earn Your Liberation. Was it? Yeah, Earn Your Liberation. And you often
shout out to Dr. Bald and
Geechee.
And Geechee, y'all.
Yeah. Shout out to those brothers. I've heard you argue this, and it is something that I fight with myself. Now, you might know I'm a therapist and all this stuff, and I do things psychologically and all that type of thing. But the thing is, I do think that there's a pacification. there is some liberal ideals that's fed into us, and sometimes we approach things very softly, especially due to our education. Especially those in that realm. And I heard you often debate the idea of coming strong, and it's just is, if I can, for lack of a better term, no, I'm not going to say that term. Just coming as strong and ignorant, ignorant, you understand that one? Ignorant as those that oppose us, even though they might look like us. Now, tell me more about that, because that is something I struggle with. I try to do it. I try, the best I can give you is a passive aggressive right now. But, I do have gloves on every time I fight my brothers and sisters, because I'm looking at it as I'm fighting for us. I'm fighting to wake you up. I'm fighting to bring us together. So I don't want to take the gloves off and three-piece you. But I've heard you with a different view on that.
You think, okay, you saying I come off as ignorant?
No. Did I just tell you that you? I just brought you on, man. Look, I brought you on and said you are one of the brightest minds.
I know, but you said I come off as.
No. No, let me reframe my question. He ready to fight me, y'all. Look, he ready to fight me. He's like, I'm the ignorant one.
Tree hugging vegan pacifist, bro.
No. See, I got it, but that's not what. So my conversation is: you've often debated with Jared, Dr. Ball, and Dr. Ball and Geechee about approach.
Yes.
And sometimes they would say, "Well, you got to do it differently, Diallo," and you would go on this tangent. Say, okay, that's what I'm saying. So tell me more about that, because you're saying we got to smack the shit out of them, just like they smack the out of us.
Right.
Tell me, what do you think this is how one?
Listen, our only obligation is accuracy. My main obligation to my people is that my analysis is accurate and it is grounded in evidence. That's it. That's our only obligation. And if I got to spit it, if I got to yell it, if I got to scream it, if I have to write it down in a peer-reviewed journal, I can come in all those directions. So I think that the conscious and revolutionary people are too caught up in being the good guys. We got this comic book concept of, we're the good guys, and there's certain things we don't do. And there's certain approaches we don't have. Now, we got all those lectures of Malcolm X calling Dr. King, Abernathy, a bunch of handkerchief head Negroes. So we got to speak the language of the people. How can you speak to the people or speak on behalf of the people and you don't sound like the people? So, yes, I have spoken. New word I've invented. I have spoken at academic conferences. I've been called out to speak in formal groups. And I've been on the side of the basketball court at a pickup game. We have to, every African has to be able to articulate our mission.
Mm-hmm.
You run into a Muslim or a Christian, they can run their game down. You know, we African people are too sensitive to the feelings and sentiments of our opposition and people who are ignorant. I have no issue with people who are uneducated. I have no issue with people who are uninformed. But the root word of ignorant means to ignore. An ignorant person is a person who rejects, who shuts themselves off from evidence, from analysis, from critique. A person who is anti-academic, anti-analytical, a person who is consciously and deliberately ahistorical. And those people are what you call vectors. All African people are victims of white hegemony and capitalism. Those are the twin towers that we must topple: capitalism and white hegemony, right? Now, every African on the face of this earth, down to the unborn children, every Black woman on this planet has dioxin in her bloodstream. We all have microplastics inundating our neurology, our nerve cells. The whole world is contaminated. From the atmosphere of the earth down to the bottom of the lowest ocean trenches is Western capitalist pollution and contamination. So we're all victims. But some victims switch over and become what they call vectors, meaning we're all contaminated by Western propaganda and Western contaminations. Some of us resist it, some of us submit to it, but some of us seek to spread it to others. A vector is someone or an entity that is infected, and they don't die from the infection, but they seek to infect others with the infection. So these people are vectors, and we need to confront the vectors on all fronts. Or as Del Jones said, you can't let a traitor go unaddressed. So let me have a very high tolerance for traitors. We have sympathy for traitors. And we have been plagued by traitors more than almost any other population in history.
And that's what they're saying about our continental and diasporic brothers and sisters.
What they saying about
them? In fact,
they're traitors.
Yeah, they're saying that they don't. That they call them tethers. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah, that's disgusting. That's some coon shit.
They call them tethers, and they're saying they're using like let's say anecdotal examples, and they just kind of keep playing them all day. And
yes, because you ever read Uncle Tom's Cabin?
Have
and
I read?
Sambo would come up and say, "I'll trees the coon, boss." A lot of Africans throughout history, during colonization and chattel slavery, would win favor of the oppressor by demonstrating their eagerness to do brutality to other Africans. I'll trees the coons for you, boss. You'll notice a lot of people on the lower rungs of the upper hierarchy demonstrate to the oppressor that says, "Hey, look how aggressively I'm willing to attack." They're racial pygmies. So if they want to say, "Hey, MAGA, look, I hate immigrants as much as you do. I demean and dehumanize Black refugees before you get a chance to. I don't want them in our country no longer." They are mad. Imagine you working a plantation, getting beaten, getting abused, being exploited every day on a plantation, right? And then you look over the horizon and you see some other people trespassing on the plantation, and you get mad at them. You run up to the White House and knock on the door and say, "Massa, boss, they trespassing on our land." That's some social cultural we sick boss. So for them to attack, first of all, no humane, sane person respects the territorial integrity of an empire. Imperial nations deserve no territorial integrity. So you can't be mad about people, quote unquote, illegally immigrating, invading, or trespassing on the territory of an imperialist nation.
And I don't care if it's the United States, Europe, Australia. That's first of all, just to be a decent person, just to say a person who accepts basic fairness. The first morality that a child learns is fairness. You get a child that's still in diapers that can say, that's not fair. That's not fair. Children, primates, lower primates understand the concept of fairness. So how do you reach adulthood or start a movement and you don't even have a concept of fairness within your movement? It's an illegitimate movement. So every African that comes to this shore has every goddamn right to be here. And many of us have been tricked by the white man. Many African people, many people who are oppressed by capitalism and white hegemony believe that the white man got a little justice box. He's got this little box of justice that he keeps behind his golden throne. And there's only so much justice in that box. So if we see the white man giving justice to Sudanese refugees, if we see the white man giving justice to Haitian migrants, then that's justice we could have got. That's their concept of justice. Justice is something that the white man gives out and doles out to populations. It's not something that we create from within and we demand and we build from within ourselves. So since they believe that the source of money, the source of wealth, the source of legitimacy, the source of power, the source of justice comes from the white man, if the white man is giving justice to any black folks anywhere else, then that's justice we should have got. Even though, he's giving money to them, as if the white man is not just printing money off his printing presses. It's fiat, it's make-believe. And we get mad when we see any other population making progress under the white man, because that's progress we should have had. Up until the point where they get mad when actors from Nigeria, actors from Ghana get roles in movies in America. It's sick. It's backwards. And the fact that such a movement as ADOS and FBA could have a foothold in our country is showing how much we have regressed intellectually as a people. What this is political prosperity. This is prosperity politics. The 90s and the early 2000s, the black community was overcome by prosperity gospel. If you follow the right God, and you say the right prayer and you are part of the right denomination and you join the right congregation, then the Lord will bless you with wealth. And so the Yvette, Carnal, and Tariq Not Shit, they saw that and was like, hey, let's take this toxic backward shit and infuse it. So if you got the right social security number and the right citizenship and the right lineage, then the Lord will bless you. And they went from the Lord in heaven to the Lord of the U.S. Treasury. And it will not pay off. It is a scam. And the sooner we're done and expose this as a scam, the better off we will be as a people.
So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate all of that. I mean, I'm writing my book and probably a paper on this. And if I can, I'll definitely cite you. Social culture, we sick boss. Yes, that right there is that's a hell of a.
All right, yes, but we rich boss.
We rich boss.
Cut the check shit. They don't even understand what reparations is. If you go and look up the definition of reparations, reparations is a byproduct of a people who have been wronged, systematically, historically suffered an injustice. And reparations, by definition, means to restore the population to the position they were in before the atrocity. So reparations is to restore you to the position you were in before the offense was committed, to make you whole.
So how do we not look like this? And because I'm going back to your response earlier, and you said, and I'm certain you can parse it out, because one of the things you said is not to become the oppressor. And how do we differentiate between the way that we fight this is not becoming the oppressor and just doing what they're doing to us? I mean, I'm assuming there's some questions around that if you follow me. But then you also see the dear brother here. It says what we have here are two tethers who are not foundational to this land, upset because we don't want to be called African. I mean. Okay. Are you following what I'm trying to get at? Like, so how do we not throw the blows the same way and not become agents of oppression? I mean,
how do we fight against other black people and not be oppressors?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. Name me a revolutionary movement that didn't have a civil war.
All right.
And even outside of Africa,
the
Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks, they were both fighting for the exact same thing. China had a civil war, internal war. The Viet Cong, the communists had to fight off the nationalists. Whenever a people become under oppression, there are only 3 outcomes you can have when your community, your race, your nation, your people comes under oppression. That is resistance, submission, or cooperation. And so the people who resist and the people who cooperate, we fight and try to recruit the people who are under submission. Right? And so there is going to be conflict. We shouldn't be ashamed of conflict. We shouldn't be ashamed of, because you look at other black folks and say, God damn it, you should know better. And if you don't know better, I can teach you better. And if you are ignorant, you ignore the better path, then you become the opposition. We need to subvert you. We need to expose. Well, my formula is expose, isolate, and expel them. We define those people as assets of the oppressor. There's no shame in that for African people, because until you can show me a people who came under slavery, colonization, imperialism, that didn't have numbers of their own population join with and embrace the oppressor. Right now, you got Palestinians working with Israel.
Can you say that one more time before you? What is it? What's your model? Expose,
isolate, expel.
What does that mean?
That means that if you have people within our community that are assets of the oppressors, that are vectors for white hegemony and capitalism, then you have to don't take what I say about Tariq Nasheed or Yvette Carnum. Don't take what I say about these people. Take their own words. When they get up, when Tariq Nasheed said that black women had it easier under slavery than black men because a black woman could give up some pussy and get privileges from the white man, that the black man didn't have that option. And you would follow a man that would publicly make that statement? Or for a black woman who will wrap herself in a U.S. flag and say, we want to be made white? If that is palatable to you, as Dick Gregory said, get in the corner and check yourself out. Fix yourself. And once you fix yourself, you have to understand, yes, we will have traitors. And in fact, if you want to look at the dynamics of power within the world, the nations and populations or races of people that you deem to be powerful versus the ones you deem to be under oppressor, one of the key defining characteristics is how they dealt with traitors.
Hey.
We built monuments to black traitors. We dance to the music of black traitors. We put black traitors on t-shirts and celebrate holidays oriented around black traitors. And I tell you, whether your mission is just or unjust, if you don't have protocols for dealing with internal traitors, those who are from within the group that subvert the group, you will never have power. We incentivize treason. We don't punish it.
Absolutely. We definitely.
So the bottom line is, of course, we're going to have in any just struggle, any just movement, it's going to have. Whether it's Harriet Tubman carried a pistol, not for the white man, because there are many slaves would have rang that alarm bell if they knew Harriet Tubman was reaching back for us. If you go read Kwame Ture, Charles D. Hampton's book, who literally wrote the book on Black Power, they would tell their recruits, listen, as we're organizing in the Jim Crow South, if we're organizing under the Mason-Dixon line, don't tell your aunties, don't tell your grandparents about our movements. Because while your grandmother's going to the white man's house to do his laundry, while your auntie's sitting as a wet nurse for a racist white man, grooming and cultivating his children, they be like, oh, I don't know, my nephew done lost his mind. He's a crazy nigga. He got a problem with what we got going on here.
Mm.
So you couldn't even tell your own family members. Grow up. That is the nature of struggle. Che Guevara was sold out by his own people.
Mm.
Che Guevara was sold out to the CIA. Go read the Bolivian diary.
Mm-hmm.
Che Guevara helped a poor Bolivian peasants. And the poor Bolivian peasants, he was there fighting for their liberation. And they ran and told. I mean, shoot, as Karis once said, for every Jesus, there must be a Judas. That's just the game. Don't hate the player. That's the nature of the game. We're going to have enemies within. So we are not defined by the fact we have enemies within. We will be defined by history, what methods, tactics, and strategies we have to address them. And too many of us want to be righteous, and we want to be seen unified. So we try to make a place for these coons. We try to, we want to be seen as civilized. So we don't want to be seen name calling. You can't call them names. You can't call them the buck dancing handkerchief head coons that they are. We don't want to be seen fighting and arguing because the white man gonna see us disunified. We looking at white folks drop bombs on each other every goddamn day. White folks have fought 2 world wars against each other and 1,000,001 regional and local conflicts. It just came out a few decades ago. The United States was spying on Great Britain, France, and Germany, and it infiltrated their banking system, infiltrated their intelligence apparatus, and these are allied white nations. You got crackers bombing the shit out of each other, Ukrainians and Russians, and white folks is all arming one side of the white folks been fighting and beating the hell, and I don't even like the term world war. World War I, World War II. I call it the EMO, EMO, European Murder Orgy 1, European Murder Orgy 2. And we scared to act like we got differences. We're afraid to show the world that we got, we got differences. Here's the motherfucking line. Don't cross it. If you cross it, here are the consequences. You know how many songs and how much music can't be played in my house? What shows we can't watch? What places we can't shop? My children have never, ever had a pair of Jordans on. And they ain't just because I can't afford it, but it's also, in addition to that, me not being able to afford it, that Nike and Jordan ain't never repped our people proper. And so all it takes is that. You ain't even got to throw stones at these coons. If we would simply, collectively, turn our backs on these people. Lil Wayne could sit here and say, oh, my lives matter, diss the whole community, and we still shaking our asses at his concert. And I use celebrity because they're people that are more common. I mean, I live on the south side of Chicago. People still got temples and shrines to the Obamas in their homes. So that's something we need to do. We need to embed our culture. We had that at one time. We had that.
What's that look like?
At one time, our Black prominent business owners, our Black prominent celebrities, our Black prominent positions would have to wake up in the morning and say, even though I'm a sellout, I got to make sure my people don't catch wind of it. The Panthers used to show up at political rallies and rev up motorcycles and shout down so you couldn't even speak publicly. Go read George Jackson. Everybody loved the Panthers. We love the aesthetic of the Panthers. We don't ever study the tactics and strategies of the Panthers. They were calling out Black celebrities. They were calling out sellouts. So yes, there will be a civil conflict, an internal conflict that will accompany the external conflict, because we are a body, and you meet somebody that's trying to improve their life, that want to improve their external condition. I want to be in a better environment. I want to be in a healthier environment. I want to have better people around me. Everybody that's trying to make their life better from without, they have internal struggles. I'm gonna have to stop getting high. I'm gonna have to wake up on time. I'm gonna have to start working out. I'm gonna have to stop eating all this toxic food. Anybody internal struggle always 100% of the time accompanies external trauma. We cannot change the world if we don't change our interpersonal, intimate relationships with one to the other. And if that means a purge, it's not up to us. We don't define you as an enemy. You define yourself as an enemy. We just accept what you show us. So I'm not saying I'm going out here to condemn Black people. Everything I say negative about a Black person, I don't care if it's Dr. Fubar or any of these other sellout clowns. I go strictly off of what they articulate and what they say. I'm not the judge. I don't go out here and say, well, you're a sellout, you're a sellout, you're a sellout. But if you come to me and say, here's a whole catalog of sellout shit that is confirmed, that can be backed up. Sell out shit that I've done, sell out shit that I've advocated for, sell out. Then I go off of self-exposure. I don't go off of what I believe or how I feel about it. There's a lot of people I don't like, I think are corny as shit, but I have respect for, and I would never disrespect publicly because they have not offended our people. And it's a very low bar. Now I'll stop here. There's only one thing every African is obligated to do. And if you're not an African, if you're an indigenous, then go talk to the Wampapo. Go talk to your chieftain. Because I'm only talking to Africans who know and accept that they are Africans. Every African on this planet is obligated to make a positive contribution to our just aspirations. That's it. And that makes for a wonderful life, whether you are an artist, whether you are a guerrilla fighter, whether you are a chef, whether you want to be a dancer and a poet. There are so many ways to make positive contributions to our just aspirations. And that's what Pan-Africanism is. It's not some dictatorial, cultish, overbearing thing. And you define that. That's it. And all these other motherfuckers out here that ain't with that program, they the ops. Or Seun Kuti told me, ops is short for oppressors.
Yeah. And we think that, I appreciate that. We think that somehow we give these people too many passes. We ignore their behaviors. We can't identify. Well, we struggle to identify narcissistic, charismatic, or I don't know. I don't even call them charismatic because they don't really do anything for me, but they do for most of the populace for some reason. They're populists. And we think that somehow we overlook all the inhumane things they do to us. And we say, stop counting that man's pocket. Stop counting how many women he abusing. Stop counting all the things that he's doing because we want to see us be like next or similar to white people. And that's a serious fight. Now, and I didn't get amount of time for you, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap this up with three more questions, if that's okay with you.
Okay, I'll try to keep it succinct.
And so I do want you to respond to this on the stage because I've gotten some popularity as a result of these conversations on social media because I was away from social media. Now they call me the light-skinned Roland Martin and the Hotep Drewski.
Listen, if they call you Dr. Fubar, then say, hey, drop $1.7 million on me. Because they gave that motherfucker $1.7 million. Ask him, where do I submit my invoice? If you're going to call me Dr. Fubar, treat me like y'all treated Dr. Fubar. Shut the fuck up.
Absolutely.
They gave that con man, that motherfucking mouth breather, $1.7 million.
They didn't give me the honor of Umar. They gave me the honor of the light-skinned Roland Martin. And they gave me the honor of the Hotep Drewski and the Dashiki, the Kwanzaa man.
That's your fault. Stop looking like all them people. I mean, if I had a problem with you, I'd come up with one too. Why you look like so many different folks?
Hey, I knew when I had my African stuff on, they were gonna be like coming for me, right? I did it purposely.
And let me say this: what country? Let me tell you one country. First of all, Pan-Africanism evolved while Africa was under colonial oppression. So Pan-Africanism is not dependent on or tied to the state. There are several countries that have reached out and implemented Pan-Africanist policies and embraced Pan-Africanism, up to and including bringing African students and African scholars into Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, the Sahel states are making overtures. But the thing is that many states are under colonialism and neo-colonial ties. Dr. John Henry Clark was in Ghana. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was brought to Uganda under Pan-African outreach. But the issue is because of the neo-colonial conditions within the African continent, many of the Pan-Africanist organizers on the African continent do not hold power within the state any more than Africans here hold power within the state. But Pan-Africanism is a revolutionary movement. So it is not tied to or dependent on the state. It is a movement of, by, and for the people. But if you read history and you are not ignorant and you don't ignore history, there have been several African countries throughout the years, even in Ethiopia, established Sashimoni land for gave territory to Jamaican Rasta movement, Rastafarians to come and set up a homestead. So most, if not all of the sub-Saharan African nations at one period of time have made overtures to the African diaspora. And there's been ongoing negotiation and struggle within Africa to formalize its ties to its diaspora. Right now, I have some elders and some mentors in Ghana right now engaged in development and organizing. You know, the leader, the former chairman of the National Black United Front, he has retired to Ghana. One of my personal mentors, Del Jones, Nana Kunta, he was building a house on the shore in Ghana before he passed away. So there has always been exchange and cross-pollination between Africa and the African diaspora, including Africans in, you know, Europe, the Francophone Africans, the Caribbean, Central and South America, and the U.S. There has always been exchange. And Kwame Nkrumah came to Harlem. So these people are ignorant of Pan-Africanism. And in fact, let me tell you something. Pan-Africanism is the only movement that has ever threatened our oppressors. And you're looking at a reality in time and history where Pan-Europeanism, Pan-Arabism, and Pan-Asianism is flourishing. White folks go to Europe and make these international agreements. NATO is Pan-Europeanism. The World Bank and the IMF is Pan-Europeanism. But you're going to fight as an isolated minority group in America, as opposed to a minority world population of Africans and the African diaspora. It's a strategic flaw. Even if you're self-hatred, even if you hate the fact that you're an African, even if you're so well indoctrinated by the oppressor to hate your very reflection, just basic strategy would say, hey, who should I partner up with? Who should I link up with? What is the most viable and effective strategy? Malcolm X went all over this country calling a white man a devil, a Caucasus Mountain cave dwelling devil. Malcolm X went all over this country at the height of Jim Crow calling this white man a devil. But the moment he said, hey, I'm working with my people abroad. He went to Africa. He went to Indonesia. He went to Mecca. And be like, oh shit, this is a global system of oppression. I can't have a local system of resistance against a global system of oppression. Same thing Che Guevara tried to tell Fidel Castro. He said, if we don't spread this revolution across the world, we're going to be surrounded and encapsulated, which is exactly what happened. Che Guevara saw it happen before it happened. But the moment Malcolm X said, yeah, white man devil is irrelevant. What's relevant is unity amongst all my people. And he went from being a cultist to a Pan-Africanism is when he was deemed a true threat. So I could run around this country, oh, white devil, the fall of America, publish books for a half a century, the fall of America, as long as I'm running around in this little cage. But the moment I say, hey, this is a globalized threat, the system, if you are imposed on by a global system of oppression and you do not formulate a global system of resistance, then you are playing games. You're not serious. So Pan-Africanism, whether you do it out of love or you do it out of intelligent strategy and tactics, it is the only path forward. And in fact, every progress we've ever made, whether it is the abolition of slavery or the concessions made under the Civil Rights Act in '64, was directly linked to international affairs going on amongst other African people. Because the European and the United States, the civil rights movement didn't start in the 60s. It didn't start in the 50s. Black folks been fighting for civil war since the undermining of Reconstruction. Almost a century. But the white man was like, God damn it, Africa's decolonizing. The Soviet Union is mobilizing and saying communism is a path toward democracy and freedom and equality amongst men. And you got all these international factors. So we can't be seen hosing down Negroes in the streets and sicking dogs on Negroes in the streets and then go to Africa and try to negotiate for economic ties and land rights in Africa. And we can't go to Indonesia where their skin is black. We can't go to the Pacific Islands and where skin is black and tell these folks, let's work together. And also, if we're going to embark on an international campaign of neo-colonialism, we can't have these Negroes rising up and burning down our major cities in our backyard. So even the concessions that they made, look at how the white man in America responded to the Haitian Revolution. Because he's like, damn, if slaves in Haiti is making them type of moves, that is a threat to my plantation economics here in the West, in the US. Because any uprising anywhere in this hemisphere has a potential to be a domino effect. During the Cold War, they used to always talk about the domino effect. Our movement and our progress in this country has always been international. But what the white man does is he's like, well, I'm going to make concessions. I'm going to write these new policies, these new codes. I'm going to bring up some Negroes, handpick some Negroes and put them in prominent positions to calm the rest of y'all down. But then I'm going to rewrite the history. I didn't do this because of your militancy. I didn't do this because of your uprising. I did it out of the goodness of my own heart. Like what's his name? Professor William Mackey said, many of us believe this white man will do right by us as soon as he figures out how. The white man doesn't do right by us because it's the right thing to do, or because we've enlightened him, or we spoke truth to power, or we've demonstrated our worthiness. Oh, I's got me a social security number, and I's been a citizen, and my great granddaddy tilled the soil here. Oh, let me write you a check, Negro. The white man has only made concessions to us when we were a threat to his interest. Dale Jones called that loosening up to get a tighter grip. They loosen up to get a tighter grip. They only operate off of mutually assured destruction. They don't do shit because it's right. They do shit because not doing it is a greater threat to their long-term interest. It is ahistorical, anti-analytical, and anti-academic for Black people to still be playing this integrationist game. We need to organize and mobilize ourselves to subvert, reverse, or disrupt the agendas of capitalism and global white hegemony. And they operate on a global scale, and we must resist on a global scale. And you know, even if you study World War II and the rise of the Nazis, in Germany, the German Jews were the most secular and well-integrated population of Jews in the entire of Western Europe. Spain and France had higher rates of anti-Semitic pogroms and anti-Semitic attacks than Germany. And there were many German Jews that thought, I speak German without a Yiddish accent. I work in, or I teach in some of the highest institutions in German society. I am a loyal German. My grandfather was a loyal German. I am German Jew. Didn't mean a goddamn thing. And these niggas think MAGA, their loyalty to MAGA, their patriotism is going to save them. If you go read the book called The Turner Diaries, one of the most prominent books that led to the reemergence of this modern iteration of white nationalism. Even in the Turner Diaries, which was a book about the extermination of mud people, of the unworthy, the undesirable, us, Mose and Mosetta. They said in that book, there will be Negroes who align with us. They call them like-minded minorities. And the like-minded minorities will aid us in the destruction of their own people. If you look at if you read the history of the Nazi genocide, all of those ghettos, the Warsaw Ghetto, they didn't have German guards. They all had Jewish guards. They were policed by Jews. Germans didn't even have to get their hands dirty. So we got a whole treasonous, treacherous movement. And I have to say, the fact that FBA lying to our people about getting a check lying to our people about their lineage and their loyalty and their citizenship, lying to our people about the attitudes and sentiments of African people in the Caribbean, Central and South America, and the African continent. The fact that such a movement is able to rise up in our midst is a testament to that we need to step our game up.
Yeah. So I want to ask you this as
you see an idiot on here talking about National Socialism and doesn't understand the difference between National Socialism and socialism. And he said MAGA hates capitalism.
Yeah,
let me tell you something. Menticide is our number one threat. Menticide is the number one threat to African people. And we can get reparations, we can get guns, we can all wake up tomorrow loving and united. But menticide is the number one threat.
I thought it was going to say something else because it doesn't make sense.
Intelligence has been countered.
Yeah, I thought it was going to say something else because it didn't make sense. Like, I just knew that they were going to say FBA and MAGA are capitalists, you know, but or white supremacy.
Look at the flag, and then your name is a Coben, and look at the flag. Goddamn! I mean,
it's so interesting because some of those who are fighting, hitting my channel up the most have Kemetic names.
Coben, get the fuck out of my face.
They have Kemetic, African, Western names. So I begin to think they're just trolls at some point.
The American capitalist system not only makes people stupid, it makes them arrogant in their stupidity. That's what Kwame Ture told us. The American capitalist system not only makes people stupid, it makes them arrogant in their stupidity.
What he say here? Oh, he'll debate you. Oh, you get to see it. Okay. All right. So as we transition and come to a close, I want to respect your time. And I appreciate it. Family, like the video, share the video. Hey, FBAers, make sure you comment and keep us in the algorithm. We love it. Keep us in the algorithm. But, you know, Brother Diallo, have you heard about this Frank Zanu brother?
I've heard about him. I can't say I know enough to speak on him, though.
Yeah, okay. You know,
well, do that.
They've been using his video anecdotally saying that African Americans don't have culture as somehow in their minds that this one snippet is proof that Africans hate us. And we're not saying all the Africans that when they're confronted, but they're very tricky in hiding their hands and throwing rocks.
Let me tell you something. It's ironic. It's very ironic that FBA and ADOS are so keen on highlighting and pointing out the sellout Africans. Because they're sellout Black Americans or whatever the fuck they call it, foundational. You know. So you got the sellouts using other sellouts to validate their selling out. You know, that's all they're doing. So any African sellout that steps up and says anything disparaging about the African diaspora or African Americans, they're going to motivate that and prop up that voice. It's no different than a sexist. If I was a sexist, then I would find women and handpick the women who are pick-me's or traitors to their own gender or whatever you want to call them and say, oh, look at this. A woman will come out and say, you know, testosterone is toxic or whatever. And that's all. That's called nut picking. People that don't have a legitimate stance or don't have a legitimate position, they always do that. There are whole websites amongst white people that do nothing but cover crimes committed by Africans. And they post, and people who do nothing but go online and consume petty crimes committed by Black people. And when they consume these petty crimes committed by Black people, in their mind, that validates the atrocities committed by white people or excuses the atrocities committed by Black. So these sellout ADOS people will go out and find any African from the continent that says any dumb shit, and they will completely ignore the many Africans from Chinwezu down to Seun Kuti who are Pan-Africanists, who clearly and articulate the needs and desires of the masses of African people on the continent. The African continent shows Black folks love. And African people, if you go back, when we first were emancipated, and we got our rights through the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution, the first organizations founded by Black people in the New World were called what? Were they called Black? Were they called American? They were called African. Whether it's an African Lodge, African Methodist Church, everything we called were African. The day after slavery was over. We knew we were Africans. If you look at the earliest writings, and if you are a Black person, you know, as many disagreements as I have with Neely Fuller, many disagreements as I have with Neely Fuller. One thing he said is, as a result of being an oppressed person, as a result of being a victim of the systems and institutions of white supremacy, the least you can have is a freedom to define who you are. You can handpick an identity. So if you want to go play Little Indian, if you want to say I'm a Moor, if you want to say you're post-racial American, that is your right. But once you make that determination, that restructures your relationship. If I went upstairs right now and I told my wife, listen, I was back there talking to this brother and an angel appeared before me, and now Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I am now a Christian, and as for me and my house, we will follow the Lord. And we're going to church next Sunday, and I want to baptize, and I'm going to recommit to Jesus. Now, I have a right to do that. Am I right? My wife would have a right to say, this dude done lost his mind, and I'm going to file for divorce Monday morning. So, yes, you can say I'm Native. And that's going to start you into an ongoing conflict with the other indigenous people. And that's going to remove you from the engagement, the discussion, and the relevant issues of the African community. So I'm not saying you can't play Indian. I'm just saying, why the fuck are you playing it over here? Because this is not an Indian space. You can play more. You can play patriotic American citizen. But if you're a patriotic American citizen, go over there and talk to the Proud Boys and the Promise Keepers and all those patriotic American organizations. Why the fuck is APA and ADOS arguing and fighting with African people? Because I'm an African. So I move amongst African people. I engage African people. If you see me out in public engagement, it is an African cultural thing. It is a Black thing. It is all blackity black. If ADOS had a conference, I wouldn't fucking go. If ADOS had anything, if ADOS goes online, I don't even watch them scumbag. All my information from ADOS is people keep sharing that shit with me. And I've already scratched it and tossed it into the ash can of history. It's an obsolete anything until some white institution picks them up and uses them as an agent provocateur. They're irrelevant. And so once you say, hey, I ain't African because my people are oppressed and you don't want to join this fight, you don't want to make a positive contribution to our just aspirations, I grant you that. I understand it. It is wonderful to me. Being a conscious Black man who embraces my African lineage, who supports African liberation and Black power, has guided me to make the best decisions of my life. In my intimate personal relationships and my relationships in the community, and my relationships at home and abroad. It is made for a wonderful life that is rooted in struggle. And if you think wrapping yourself in the goddamn flag and orienting yourself to demonstrate to the white man that you're patriotic enough to deserve more than a Black man from Haiti or a Black man from Senegal, and you tell the white man I'm more American, so pick me, boss. Give me reparations, boss, and build a wall, kick them out. Kick them out of schools, kick them out of politics, kick them out of movie studios, boss, because I's the one, boss. If that's the fuck what you are. But that some of the house Negroes, if you want to get up in the house and you want to get up on the lap of the white man, then that's your choice. And you made your choice, and therefore we have to respond accordingly. This shit ain't even complex. We shouldn't be having these discussions in 2025.
We have to. I mean, cultural labor is just as relevant as the material labor.
I think we thought we had made some ground, and the interesting part is that many of the people that I find myself debating have all these African names. I even know some brothers and sisters. I think they're tired. They're literally tired of fighting. I know so many quote unquote used to be Pan-Africanists now saying hold on, I can't used to be Pan-Africanists that are now fighting with the American flag now, or the FBA flag or the holiday they have. That's what I'm saying. There's an identity and an ideology there. They have a whole flag and holidays coming. So
hey, listen, everybody ain't that strong. Everybody ain't built for this.
And that's the fact. Go ahead. Go ahead. And
hey,
ain't built for it. You're right.
I just had a person come and tell me they were former Pan-African, right? And I said, so you're no longer a Pan-African. What is your current ideology? And they said all the stuff. I support peace. I support justice, but they didn't name an ideology. And here's the thing. If you have not consciously cultivated an ideology, then you're acting according to someone else's ideology. The only thing that separates us from other primates is our capacity, our self-awareness, our consciousness to able to deliberately construct, not simply to respond on instinct, but to conceptualize. And so a lot of people abandon it, but I see when I find people who say, I ain't with that black stuff no more. I used to be a Pan-Africanist. What I found when I really engage with them or read their writings, what I find is people embrace things for different reasons. Many Black people come to the Black liberation struggle to express their personal freedom instead of securing our collective freedom. The Black liberation struggle exists to secure our collective freedom. And so people come into the movement and say, well, I'm African, I'm pro-Black, when they're really not. They're just aesthetically African. It's superficial. They might adopt an African name. They might start wearing African garb. They might build a shrine to the Orisha or a shrine to their ancestors in their homes, but it's aesthetically African.
Absolutely.
They do not seek to construct and impose the will of African people and reconstruct the world to act in the best interest of the African population. So that's what really caused a lot of people. They continue to search. And you'll find I used to be a Pan-Africanist, now I was spiritual, and then I'm patriotic, and now I'm an entrepreneur, I'm trying to secure the bag. Those are people who aren't grounded, and they're not doing things based on analysis. They're doing things based on their feelings. And I'm not saying that's a negative thing. If you need to continue to search, then continue to search. But revolution is an intellectual endeavor. So whatever brings you to revolution, as I said earlier, whether it's outrage, whether it's inspiration, whether it's the love of the people, if you do not within the movement cultivate your intellect, then you will have a very, very weak foundation.
And these same people still quote those like Dr. Amos Wilson. Yeah. They still utilize, and what was one of his major points was we need ideology and an ideological approach to this.
He said that is the number one asset that people can have. He said that a cohesive collective ideology is more valuable than resources in your land. He said it's more valuable than any weapon you can obtain or construct. He said you will look at people that live on land that has no natural resources, no gold mine in France. And France has some of the highest gold reserves of any nation. There's no natural resources in Japan. But in up until the 90s and, after the collapse of the Asian tiger, but up until the collapse of the Asian tiger economy, Japan was the number one industrial power
one of the top emerging industrial powers in Asia, if not number one. And they have no natural resources. It's a rock island, very little agricultural land and no natural resource. But sinocentrism, China always has been an abundant land with vast resources, but it wasn't until Maoism and sinocentrism is what guided them to properly utilize those resources. And that's why the West is okay with all these fiefdom rising up all over the African world. All these little African countries with their little African flags and all these individualistic African holidays and their African parades.
Mm-hmm.
The West is fine with that. Hell, the United States State Department will even make donations to those African nations for their little Independence Day parades and shit. But the moment those African heads of states and diplomats start talking to each other, they said, instead of building ports to export our resources, let's build an internal railway system to trade amongst ourselves. That is more likely to get you coup d'etat, send in the economic hitman and the jackals, the saboteurs, than getting in front of a podium and saying, down with the West. You can say all that shit. Mobutu was one of the baddest black men on the African continent. And he would get behind the podium and chant and denounce the West, and then go sit at the negotiation table and sign over the wealth of his nation. So it's very clear. We know what our oppressors fear. And that's why a lot of these sellout Negroes, they show up on C-SPAN. They show up in all these places, and we think they're so prominent and they're so popular. The goddamn algorithm of the internet fucking loves Dr. Fubar because he's a goddamn clown.
Absolutely.
Just imagine if you and I could sit here and handpick the most prominent voices amongst white folks. You know, the white community and the white culture would be very different if we controlled the means of media production. So we got to stop falling for these handpicked motherfuckers, and we need to start deliberately deciding who we will engage and who we will to speak with us and to speak in front of us and to speak for us. Self-determination. Kuji Chakali, Kwanzaa's coming up.
Look, I'm not messing with you and your Karinga Claus jokes today. But
I didn't say you said it. I didn't say Karinga Claus.
Hey, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Hey, look, check this out. So I'm going to be doing some social scientific analysis, Brother Diallo, on attitudinal differences amongst African people across the globe, just to bring some data to the conversation. I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about in future episodes. And so that's an approach I'm going to take, because there is some education that is needed. As you say, I know one of my good friends say the war is ideological, you know. And so what I want to say is, I was just thinking today though, as I was driving, and I said, you know, we're fighting them saying that they are anti-immigrant, black immigrant, or immigrants in general. But I thought about it on another level. They're really anti-Pan-Africanists.
They're anti-black.
Yeah.
And the only black people they accept are black people who are validated by white folks. Look at the black people that they deem to be worthy, are the black people that have the stamp of approval, citizenship, and recognition from whites. So they're anti-black. If you are a black person that does not carry the necessary credentials, it doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter what you contribute, it doesn't matter what work you've done. If the white man does not have his stamp of approval on your forehead, then you're an unworthy African. So what they're saying is white folks divided up the world, and they created various populations of black people and placed them in various parts of the globe. And the people that the white man placed here to get special consideration of all the other black people than those who were colonized on the continent or those who were distributed. And Dr. John Henry Clark told us 50 years ago, the only difference between a Jamaican, a Panamanian, and a black American is a boat stop.
And they said
so it's literally the white man carved up their world instead of saying, we're going to wipe the slate.
So
we're going to wipe the slate clean, and we're going to restructure this shit our way.
So, Brother
And that's how
Diallo,
we honor our ancestors, by defeating the system that created them, not replicating and embracing it.
but Brother Diallo, and you know,
You gotta say one more thing.
Yes.
About black people not liking each other.
Uh-huh.
You think the British like Americans? You think the Irish like? Do you think the New Zealanders and Australians like the French? It ain't about like, it's about power. I know half the people I work with don't like me, and the other half of people I work with, I don't like them. It ain't about who like who. That's not what power is. Grow the fuck up. This ain't a high school lunch cafeteria. Oh, you can't sit with us. You can't sit at the African American table. This is global power. We are under a system that is not just oppressing and exploiting us. We are under the system that is destroying the life-sustaining capacity of the planet Earth. And do you think our descendants 100 years from now on a contaminated, non-viable planet will be sitting here trying to determine which of their ancestors had a social security number and a birth certificate? Which of their ancestors migrated where and how? So they're going to say which of our ancestors organized and constructed opposition to this shit, and which of them submitted and cooperated with. That will be the only definition of a good ancestor or a good black person and a bad one. Who resisted, who submitted, who cooperated. And that's it. Those are the only defining characteristics of any black person on this planet. I don't care where you are, how you identify. Do you resist capitalism and white hegemony? Do you submit to it? Or are you an active participant and champion of it? And only one of those is an appropriate way to be. And that's it. I'm sorry, bro.
No, I appreciate it.
I just had an oatmeal latte. I know not to drink coffee before I turn on this camera, man.
You know, I kind of, you know, I knew it was going to be this type of talk. So, and because I know it was going to take some work off of me, and I appreciate it. but you give so many points at one time that I can't really dig into the many points, right? But you know, one thing you're bringing up, we talked about Amos Wilson, and we spoke about, you know, the mind he was. We talk about Dr. Clark, the mind that he was, or as some of us might say still is, because they left a legacy and plenty of things for us to build upon. But their argument goes back to your argument earlier. They're saying that there's outdated aspects of Pan-Africanism, or Pan-Africanism is outdated. You didn't say that per se, but you did say that we need to update some things.
Yes, of course.
And what they would say is they are the update.
They are not. They're not.
Hold on, let me finish before you come. So they will say they are the update, and that they take all the lessons from these people, including the Small, the Clark, the Wilsons, all the people, all of our elders and ancestors at this point. They would say that they take the best of what they had, and now they've learned that just that Pan-African part just wasn't proper, and they're taking all the other lessons or something like that. Okay. And they are the update.
Anytime somebody comes to me, I don't care if it's the cult, like the Nation of Islam, a religious cult, or a grifter movement, prosperity politics. I say, what would it look like if they won, right? They want reparations and full integration and full equality of African people, to the exclusion of any Africans who cannot trace their lineage back to chattel slavery, right? Let's say they won. Would a total victory of the FBA movement, of actualization of all of their agendas, would that lead to a cessation of capitalism? No. Would it lead to a cessation of imperialism and imperialist aggression? No. Will it lead to a cessation or reduction in the destruction and exploitation of global ecosystems? No. I can go all the way down the list. Their ultimate agenda does not in any way, the only thing it will do is increase the consumption capacity of a limited population of Black people. based on their historic lineage to slavery. That's the only mission, to increase our consumption capacity. We can get bigger cars, we can buy nicer homes, because that's all it is. But to increase our consumption capacity, they have also articulated to the enemy, to the oppressor, I will be a loyal, full-fledged American, meaning that the agenda, the priorities, and the trajectory of America, I'm going to be down with it. And what is the mission, the trajectory, and the priorities of the United States of America? So if they actualize and won on every front, they would accelerate not just the extinction of all Africans, including the Africans with a Social Security card. They would succeed and accelerate the very collapse of global ecosystems and what is called omnicide, the destruction and death of all complex organisms and complex biosystems. So even if they won, it would be our obligation to resist. They are not anti-imperialist, they are not anti-capitalist, and they are not anti-white hegemony. The only appeal they are making to the white hegemon and the capitalist is for them to make room for us based on our labor, the labor of our ancestors. And if you're going after your ancestors, how the fuck can you say the 300 years of labor of my ancestors in the West outweighs the 3,000 years of free and independent labor of my ancestors in the East? It's a warped equation. A Coben is a white man. I'm just going to put that out there right now. His name is a Coben, and he's got a Zimbabwean flag in the comments. Do you have a moderator for your comments? I got good moderators. That's a white man. He on here talking about what Nick Fuentes said. What self-respected man is going to say, repeat anything Nick Fuentes said? A gay Mexican champion of white Nazi Christian authoritarianism. I mean, Nick Fuentes' very existence is irrational. So how can you bother listening to anything that little twerp says? He said having sex with women is gay.
What happened?
I don't know. See, I mean, I'm telling you, you got some white folks with African names and African flags pretending to be black. Okay. Yeah, I ban you. Yeah, you come up in my feed, I'm gonna ban the shit out of you.
I mean, that makes sense though. You know, I haven't done this much, so I don't have moderators.
Got some great moderators, man.
So that's something I'll have to, you know, as we continue.
The chat, man, shit.
Yeah. As we
out of self-respect. We were having this discussion in person. You let some musty dude with poor hygiene in blackface come to you, a white man in blackface come to your home and have a discussion at your table. So this is our online communities. We got to cultivate our own online communities as deliberately as we call it. But that's my thing. I ain't gonna tell you how to run your show, bro. I'm sorry. I've overstepped.
Hey, no, you didn't overstep. You kicked.
Now he's using weak ass, fake ass patois. He went from being Zimbabwean to Jamaican.
Okay,
that's a white boy.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So, and let me tell you, my rule is I don't respond to anonymous hater. Because they call me, I didn't name myself the Grinch of Pan-Africanism. But number one, I don't sneak diss. If I'm going to diss you, I'm going to say your name and I'm going to show my face.
Okay, I see.
I ain't never dissed nobody anonymously since I've been in this movement.
Okay. You gave me the time to slow down and put them in timeout. I'm learning some things. So give thanks to that. I never had the reason as of yet to have a moderator, but we want to continue to educate, and so all right.
You're gonna get big. The bigger the beard, the bigger your show.
Okay.
You see, Dr. Fubar, right?
That
must be the secret.
So yeah, I didn't even get to comb it out today.
Blow up, bro. I got a struggle beard over here.
Hey, the bigger the beard, the bigger the show.
Yeah, your beard is robust.
So I mean, what you said though, with all of that you said, I always like how you go through your thing, like they just hate black people and all that, right? And I get it. And let me give you some pushback.
Okay.
It's not really pushback, but it's pushback because you actually are making sense when someone is thinking deeper.
Okay.
But the reality is people aren't, for the most part, thinking to that level. You're like thinking over here, but when you add all of what you just said up, it literally says that Pan-Africanism is in our way to get all those things that we want, to get the crumbs on the plantation. We want to make sure nobody else get the crumbs from massa.
Yes.
Because look, we worked here. We was on the plantation.
Yes.
You know,
Pan-Africanism is a liability to coons.
Mm-hmm.
Pan-Africanism renders coons and sellouts illegitimate, and it exposes the non-viability of what they're advocating. Yes, it does. Yes, by its very nature.
You know, the hurting, the part. Look, I do have some empathy for our brothers and sisters. That I know some good ones, and they can't see the trick, and somehow they think that FBA. I mean,
they refuse to see it. It's obvious. It's way too freaking obvious.
It's too obvious.
It's way too freaking obvious. I mean, it's Tariq not shit. He oozes.
But I think though, you know, I know your wife's a psychologist. So when people are operating from a state of anger, they're not able to think. When they're operating from
I'm angry all the time.
No, you're not
true. That's not true.
No, you're not angry.
I'm mad as hell.
No, you're tactical. That you just told me about the peace and the yoga and the joke.
I'm angry black.
No, that's a different type of anger. See, there's a difference between trait anger and state anger. You deal with some state anger.
No, seriously. I'm angry. My wife is an angry black woman. When people was out here, when the sexists were out here talking about angry black women, I couldn't be. Listen, how can you live on a planet saturated in oppression? And not be pissed off?
I think we're talking about two different things. You're still taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I have a good outlet. You know, I play video games. I build complex Lego sets.
Yeah, you're taking care of yourself so that you can funnel that
I go on long walks
you're not allowing the trauma to take over, and the only part of your brain that's working is your limbic region and lower.
Maybe if I did, I'd be more effective.
Well, yes, you'll be cussing more and doing a lot more of what you said we need to do.
Yeah, I'd be right. Maybe I'd be on the front line.
Because right now, you're able to reason with higher ordered thoughts. You're not operating from a state of fight and flight. Yeah. Not all the time. Maybe when the white guy or whoever you call just something to say something in that chat board, it happened. But some of us are operating from that state constantly. And we believe that the Mexicans are taking our money, the Africans, the Jamaicans, because I was on a show, on Dr. Mayat's show, and the brother name, I'm not even gonna say his name, but anyway, he asked, I forgot what it was. It was something that I called him out on, and he said, "Brother Ausar," he said, "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" I said, "No, brother. I don't have to be. You don't have to be afraid of me. I love you. I know you wouldn't do that, but nonetheless, what I'm saying is, he said because when somebody is afraid, that means that if somebody's lying, they believe they must be afraid of a person. I said, no, you're not afraid of me. You're afraid of Africans. You're afraid of Jamaicans. You're afraid of Haitians. You're afraid of all. You think they're gonna come and take what you think is yours. You think they're going to take your reputation.
Let me tell you what they fear. They fear a white man.
Well, that's true. But I think there's levels of fear.
Let me tell you, any African, again, we have to go back to Kwame Ture. He said, we only fight people with power. If you see people orienting themselves in opposition to any population that doesn't hold institutional power, then they are afraid.
Again, holistically,
if you define anybody else than the capitalist and the hegemons as your opposition, so what happens is these people, like you said, they're angry. They understand that they're victims of injustice. They understand that something just ain't right. And so I'm like, man, my life ain't what it's supposed to be. Right. So I want to make it. I want to change my life.
No, I agree. They're taking the easier fight.
It's not even the easier.
What they believe is the easier fight.
They're conducting themselves in such a manner to win the favor of the white man. Because let me tell you this: if Donald Trump, if the MAGA movement, if the U.S. State Department tomorrow woke up and said Haiti is the 51st state, if the American government and those in power and Elon Musk stood up and said, if not for Haiti, the United States would never exist as a nation. And the Haitian Revolution provoked the French to sell the Louisiana Purchase and doubled the size of the United States overnight. We owe a great debt to the nation, so we're going to create a constitutional amendment and make the Haitians the 51st state. And all of this, those FBA people are like, yeah, and they will be outside with Haitian flags. They're not thinking as independent black people. They're looking at the white man, and now the white man is anti-immigrant, so I's anti-immigrant. The white man is pro-entrepreneurialism and capitalism and tech, so I's. Everything they do, they are byproducts. Right. They are excrement, excreted by the white man.
Now the data shows, though, data shows, though, brother Diallo, I get you. You're thinking over here. But the data even shows that they think that the white man, that the other immigrants are coming to take their stuffers.
Right, and who told them that? Where did they get it from?
They got it from the white man.
Exactly.
They got it from
they are parroting. That is called mirroring. Let's use your expertise. It's called mirroring. When someone is in an abusive relationship, they will start to mimic the behaviors of their abusers in order to deflect the wrath of the abuser.
Well, I see that, but also
what they do is saying, listen, the white man is gone mask off fascist, has gone masked off overtly racist. If the United States was still like it was back in the 70s, pretending to be diplomatic and saying, well, we are amongst a community of nations, and we're going to respect the UN Charter, and we're going to respect the Refugee Charter, and we're going to, support the International Criminal Court, then they're going to, just like we sick boss. We hate immigrants boss. They're just mimicking white folks. They're not even, that's why it's kind of like,
But you
go to somebody's house, right?
I get what you're saying.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Look at it a bit more nuanced, though. I do get what you're saying holistically. Overall, I do. But they do fear, and the fear is put into them. They are told they come to get your shits. They come to get your stuffers.
But that's not true.
No, it's not about it being true.
They don't believe. Listen, they're only regurgitating because the average. Listen, I grew up in Missouri. Right? I've been to places like Smithville. I've been down in the Ozarks and shit. I used to be down on the Missouri-Tennessee border for inner city youth summer camps, paid for by Kanakuk Christian. I've been all over the white parts of this country, right?
Yeah.
And you got white folks who never interact in any significant way with Mexicans or blacks. And they have very strong attitudes and opinions about people they never interact with.
Yeah.
They got very strong attitudes and opinions.
Right.
People that live in an area within 100 miles of where they live, there isn't one mosque. But they go to the polls and vote against Sharia law because they're afraid that Sharia law is going to be imposed on them. So people have a phobia is an irrational fear. But I have to tell you, FBA and ADOS are not speaking based on research facts. Oh, the data backs up. They are strictly taking their cues from the white folks in power. That's all they're doing.
It's a both and, brother Diallo. It's a both and, brother. They are also afraid, man. They are afraid.
Yeah. Okay, but where does the fear come from?
It's obviously come from the top.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is they're still afraid nonetheless.
I hope the fear consumes them.
I
hope the fear disintegrates their internal organs.
Hey, is your coffee hot going down now? Hold on.
Drink water to flush the caffeine.
Oh, drink it. Okay. Hold on. Let me look. Okay. Haitian. Look. So okay. I'm going to deal with this just briefly, and tell you how anti-intellectual it is. Haitians do not call their self African. Well, I don't know what that means, but African Jamaicans do not call their self.
Why you even look at his outfit in his little picture? He thought that was fly enough to post online.
So none of that is true. First of all,
man on there dressed like a toddler.
There's always
grown-ass man dressed like a toddler want to tell us about what
there's always descriptive language to explain populations within.
I mean, look at his punctuation and capitalization.
Yes,
it's not even a complete sentence.
Well, all I'm going to say is because Diallo is on one right
Haitians
now.
Do not call themselves. Look at the man's punctuation.
No, you helped him out a bit. You said their selves. The Haitians do not call their self. Period.
Yeah, I'm adding fucking shouldn't that be plural? Listen, man, go back and get basic grammar and adult fashion. Go master those two things. Go master punctuation and adult fashion. Stop dressing like a toddler. I know you think that outfit is hidden. I know when he posted that, he's like, all the females gonna slide in my DM. Look at that. Look at his hairline.
Okay.
And when you got a bald head man talking about your hairline, you know you got to get. Is that a fade? Can you enlarge that picture? Is that a fade he got there? Little mushroom top, man. Go on out of here.
African.
Can we get some valid people? I don't mind arguing and debating, but can we get somebody that got the basic grasp of what they believe?
Okay.
He was just regurgitating some broke down shit he thought he heard from Tariq, not shit.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, we got a more here.
I just clicked anything. I don't know what this says. King Divine, you can call yourselves whatever you want. American government will create categories as they see.
And yes, both of those are true.
Yes. So yeah. So okay, Brother Diallo. Let's focus just a bit, and we go. I promise we're going. I don't know what. Look, you're on one. All right. So, what do you think about this idea? Just since you're here, and I think I'll be remiss if I don't ask you. What do you think about the reparations, and what do you think about this idea if we change our name, they won't mix us up with these other immigrants and so on and so forth, these other black immigrants, and all we have to do is change our label. And do you think that will ever be a movement that will gain traction with the populace of African black people in America?
First of all, I think reparations has been bastardized. Reparations, as when I was introduced to it, one of the co-chairs, I was a member of the organizations of one of the most prominent reparations organizers, the late Dr. Conrad Warrill, brother Bill Samori Grace. And the reparations movement was intimately tied to Pan-African liberation and empowerment. Reparation was one component, one strategy, one tactic that was embedded in the larger Black liberation struggle. It was not exclusive or isolated from the larger Black liberation struggle. It was not that the white man has all the money and the white man has all the justice, and we have to outcompete other Black folks to get money and justice from the white man. It understood that the wealth was created as a byproduct of human labor, and there should be a just distribution of resources, not just a payoff for past injustices. So these tech-savvy pretenders who reduced reparations to a check have disgraced us, have disgraced themselves. And as Dr. Bobby E. Rice said, the reality is blood debts have to be paid in blood. So as I understand reparations and restoration of African people and restoration of the African continent is a lot different than us getting some scholarships, tuitions, and greater status and opportunity within capitalism and white hegemony. So that's what I say. And what was the second part of the question?
What do you think about FBA and just changing the label from African American or African in America, whatever, to FBAer, and that being a safeguard against white people giving?
Well, the FBA title is a signifier. They gotta know. They need to know when you got a population of black people. You need to know who's stupid and gullible, and who's has a modicum of self-respect. So the only reason they want people to claim FBA and put a little flag next to their name is so they'll know who the sucker is. They want the suckers to self-identify. There is no historical, cultural, or historical reality or validation to a title called Foundational Black American, because we weren't Americans when the country were founded. Same thing with ADOS. We are not descendants of slavery. People don't descend from conditions. There are no Jewish descendants of the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. There are no Native American descendants of genocide or settler colonialism. People don't descend from conditions. People descend from other people. Slavery did not create us. Slavery was made to break us, and it failed in its mission. So we descended from Africans who endured. We descended from Africans who resisted. We didn't descend from slavery. We endured slavery. So we are Africans who endured slavery, resisted slavery, who survived slavery, but we didn't fucking descend from slavery. Slavery did not make us. It failed to unmake us. So it is disrespectful. It is disrespectful to render our whole identity and our very reality, our material existence, to be a byproduct of slavery. And if African people were properly educated, the first time those individuals stepped up with some FBA, ADOS type rhetoric, they would have been laughed out, if not chased out of the room.
But keep in mind, as you're answering this, that they will say they were the indigenous people here as well. So they're not.
That is not back. That is an ahistorical, anti-academic title. But again, if you want to say, if you come to me and say, brother, I'm a Martian. And when Elon Musk flies and gets the rocket to Mars, I should get a first-hand seat, and I'm going to fight and organize for a front row seat on the rocket to Elon's market, because we are the indigenous Martians. You can call yourself what the fuck you want, but that's fine. But what really perplexes me is that when you call yourself something, but you don't act accordingly. When you take on an identity or a title, but then you act in contradiction. Because if I thought I was Native Americans, then I would be on Native American sovereign territory fighting for my status. I wouldn't be amongst a bunch of black people who say I'm from Africa arguing with them. I'm like, that's good for you. I would go amongst, but you never see the Native people, the people who claim to be black indigenous, engaging with those who are identified as indigenous. You don't see them engaging with the government. The government still has basically Bureau of Native American Affairs. They have allotments, set asides, and budgeting and standards. They have standing treaties with the indigenous population. And if you think you should be in that category, then go get in. Go do that. Why are all these indigenous black people in black African spaces running their fucking mouths? It blows my mind. If that's what you really believe, if you really believe you are more in treaty of peace and friendship, if you really believe you are Martian, then you need to be arguing interplanetary shit. Why are you telling me? I don't give a fuck. Go on with that shit. If you're an indigenous Americans, they have a movement, then go Leonard Peltier got out, go celebrate that, and go with the American Indian movement and fight for your rights amongst and within that category. And they know they can't do that because the moment they go to the actual indigenous people, who I stand in solidarity with the indigenous struggles, from the Inuits in Alaska all the way down to the indigenous people of Native America and the indigenous people of South America, the Amazonian, Chileans, the Aztecs, the Incas, to the indigenous people of the Hawaiian Islands. I support Hawaiian sovereignty and the Pacific Islanders. I have full solidarity with the struggles, the legitimate struggles of the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere. And I know that is not my struggle, but my interests align with them. Solidarity and justice and empowerment for the indigenous people aligns with liberation for African people. I'm fine with that. But if you are indigenous, black, and they have lied and get your paperwork, get your research, get your treaties, get your territorial maps, and get the fuck on and go fight that fight. Why are they always talking to black people? Why would you be in this feed of two African men talking African business, saying anything about being indigenous? Because I know there are several, when I am amongst, I've been over there with the Lakotas. I've stood in solidarity with the former AIM members. I've even gone to actions way back in the 90s supporting Leonard Peltier. I fully support them. But when I'm in their space, I sit and listen. And the only thing I would have to say to them is, how can I support? But when I'm amongst African people talking African business, I speak the fuck up because that's my business. Mm-hmm. When I'm with other people, whether I'm with black women or women in general fighting against patriarchy and sexism, whether I'm amongst the LGBTQAI plus community dealing with their issues, when I'm around, I went to this a few years ago where the black disabled people were talking about issues that concern them and what they needed from the system and what they needed from the community. I sat there and listened and learned and said, well, what's my role? You got an assignment for me. But I don't go amongst people I don't claim to be and run my fucking mouth. I talk amongst mine. And so when white folks come, we want to be in solidarity with the blacks, I got to answer for them. But so if you are a black indigenous or whatever kind of fucking indigenous, the indigenous movement is its own unique thing that needs workers. The indigenous people need soldiers. They need fighters. Go over there and fight. I don't understand why African people are debating with indigenous blacks. What's the debate about? We're two separate populations with separate histories. What are we fighting with black indigenous people for? I'm not an indigenous to this land, even though I have full support for the indigenous people of this land. And I hope the indigenous people of this land fully succeed in ousting the colonizers. I fully support them in their mission to retake their land, reassert their sovereignty, and kick out every colonizer. I support them in that.
Yeah. So in closing,
they know they ain't indigenous. That's why they over here bickering with black people, by the way.
That's why they bickering. Oh, so
that's why they bickering with black folks. They know goddamn well they ain't in. And they know they can't convince the actual indigenous people who got the damn treaties, who speak the indigenous languages, who got the DNA of the indigenous people from the Inuits, the Aztecian, and the mound builders of the East. They know they can't go argue with them about being indigenous. So they put on a goddamn headdress and feathers and argue with other black folks because they know they us.
And then they change the pictures around. They'll go take Native American pictures and give it quote unquote Negro features.
Listen, I know. Listen, you want to pick a winning team. But it's weird to pretend to be indigenous because indigenous people are worse off. I mean, the Native American people in this country have the lowest life expectancy.
They think that's.
I wish every single black person that claimed to be indigenous should have to go live on Lakota land, live on those trailers that ain't got no running waters. Where the hell were all these black indigenous people when the water defenders were fighting against the Keystone Pipeline and it was sub-zero temperatures and the U.S. Federal agents were spraying these Native American people with water hose? Why the fuck ain't you over there in the indigenous fight? Why the hell? Or you on the south side of Chicago in some goddamn moccasins? Why ain't you in rural Utah? Why ain't you in rural South Dakota where your people's fight is? And if y'all don't get out of here, and you black folks in New York on the subway wearing Bedouin clothing, take your ass on to Morocco and do that dance. And I listen. I don't have. I know y'all got a good heart. Like remember R. Kelly said in that interview, I need help to not have such a big heart. I don't have that problem. Listen, I'm not sympathetic to these motherfuckers. They playing around. It's inexcusable to reach adulthood and be that goddamn ignorant when all of us got a supercomputer in our goddamn back pocket.
Absolutely.
There's no excuse to be that goddamn stupid. That is willful ignorance.
I mean, because as my cousin said earlier, proper perspective. And I did give him a wrench, Diallo. You see, I'm working in real time, working in real time. So he was saying that I forgot what he said. What did you just say? You said, you were saying is no excuse to be that ignorant. And when I look at just stupid statements like we're not African, Jamaicans don't call themselves African Jamaicans or this, that, when that's not totally true.
We don't know shit about. Go read the Rastafarians. Go read up on the Jamaican Maroons. Go read up on Haitian folklore and Haitian indigenous spirituality. Get the blood clot out of here.
And it is also identifier to distinguish certain people on the island with different racial categories. So yes, it does exist. It also exists in a sweeping term called Afro-Caribbean. So what I'm saying is you're making no sense. So as my cousin said earlier, getting back to that, is that no matter what you say, and if you give them the answer, they'll continue to ask the question. They'll ask the question
in an answer,
as if you never answered it.
Yes. Well, Kwame Ture said this, so don't blame me and don't ask me to explain it. Kwame Ture says some Negroes are too stupid to be a slave.
What? Okay.
I said Kwame Ture said some Negroes are too stupid to be a slave.
I use my elders and ancestors too. Like, I didn't say it. Look, I know it's hard. This is hard to take. But Amos Wilson said you got to use both sides of your brain and not just get caught up in all this fantasy.
Yeah.
So.
But I say we don't debate these people. We mock, we demean, and we dismiss.
So
mock, demean, and dismiss.
He does
degrade ourselves trying to actually enter into real discussion with these motherfuckers.
Absolutely. And I say I psychosocial analyze and diagnose. And as Dr. John Henry Clark and most people take it out of context is you teach them, although they're unteachable. But nonetheless, in closing, anything that you just kind of want to bring it all together, and we're not foundational, so on and so forth, and anything that wasn't answered or asked. I mean, you said about everything, but nonetheless, what is it that you want to leave on the people? I know you might say, well, I don't want to leave nothing. But
yeah, I'll say.
I know. Look, I already know that you are. I know how that thing works up there. And I appreciate it, right? So you make it hard to ask a question, but nonetheless, I already know because I kind of got the same thoughts in my mind. So I really appreciate seeing you in the mirror, and you just a little bit. You take the gloves off. So
I'm very intentional. I thought I'd be done with this by now.
Well, you're not going to be done with it because
I thought I'd be on an African seashore with multiple wives, sipping something out of a coconut. But I thought the struggle would be over by now.
Yeah, and that's what they thought. So that's why they said, "No, we're gonna go ahead."
To this video, I don't see it.
Say it again.
Nothing. I'm just.
All right, so in closing,
let me say this I'd like to leave people with this. It is a privilege to be African, but Africans must unite. That's Nana Kute, the late great Del Jones, the war correspondent.
Ashe.
He would open all of his lectures with that statement. It is a privilege to be Africans, but Africans must unite. And shout out to Namdi, African World Order.
So how do they follow you, Brother Diallo?
It's at Diallo Kenyatta across the socials, AfricanWorldOrder.com and the African World Order YouTube, Diallo Kenyatta YouTube, and you can find my writings and essays and stuff and all that at DialloKenyatta.com. No, at Diallo Kenyatta across the socials and DialloKenyatta.com and AfricanWorldOrder.com.
Okay. So yeah, I thank you for coming on, and I too agree with you on levels and those ultimate levels that you try to, and those levels you try to just skip past and say this is what it is. It's kind of like Brother Diallo is one of those people that kind of like when somebody say colorism and they say all these other isms, he say it's just racism. Colorism is racism, and I'm like, I get that, but for people we have to kind of so yeah, I agree with the final conclusion with my dear brother, and I do think that we have to fight this as a real war, because I think many of us, even those
Yes, it is a race war.
Yeah. And we take it as if it's not a war, and that's why it's so easy for you to say I'm not Pan-Africanist no more, because you thought it was going to be easy. You know, you thought that it wasn't real. You couldn't have believed the things you was reading and the ideas coming through the organizations you've been a part of. You just thought it was a social club. Mm-hmm. So nonetheless, I'm going to say, family, like this video up. Go follow Brother Diallo across social platforms. I hope this isn't the last time. I'm going to stay in this fight for the minds and behinds of our people, because you understand there's always somebody that look like us is being used against us to stop us. So nonetheless, we will fight. And as Brother Diallo said, you know, you got to do something with traitors. Yep. And but you do have you can wake up. You can wake up and join the right side. But nonetheless, Brother Diallo, I thank you again. And family, I'm going to say peace and power until next time.
When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're Africanist, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. Become a part of it. Embrace it. Become a part of it. Embrace it. Become a part of it. Embrace it.